Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. Today is August 2nd, 2026, and we are in the 551st session. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 10, The Deliverance of the Yamala Arjuna Trees. And we have to read text 38 today. Let us read text 38 first, and then we will discuss the context and also the verse. Text 38. Vāṇī guṇānukathane śravaṇau kathāyāṁ hastau ca karmasu tava pādayor smṛtyāṁ śiras tava nivāsa-jagat-praṇāme dṛṣṭiḥ satāṁ darshanestu bhavat-tanūnām vāṇī guṇānukathane śravaṇau kathāyāṁ hastau ca karmasu tava pādayor smṛtyāṁ śiras tava nivāsa-jagat-praṇāme dṛṣṭiḥ satāṁ darshanestu bhavat-tanūnām. So, what is being said here? Vāṇī, so this is the prayers offered by NALAKUVARA and MANIGRIVA. The context is the prayers offered by NALAKUVARA and MANIGRIVA. So in this verse, or before this verse, what happened was, let's look at the previous verse, 37. They asked for Krishna's permission, right? They're saying, O Supreme Lord of the universe, or Supreme Form of the universe, please give us permission, or give permission to us who are the servants of your devotee. So you can either take devotee as Lord Shiva because they are the associates of Lord Shiva, or you can take devotee as Narad Muni. Either way. So give us permission. And then they said, by the anugraha, risher asid anugrahat. That means by Narad Muni's mercy, we were able to get your darshan, or we were able to get darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that, they prayed in the previous verse. So after saying that, please give us permission. What else are they saying? Now they are saying, vāṇī guṇānukathane. So give us permission to do what? So they'll tell what they want. But here, nivāsa-jagat-praṇāme. So Jagan Nivasa means, O Lord of the universe, may our speech, vāṇī means speech, vāṇī tava guṇānukathane. That means, may our speech be engaged in glorifying you, or glorifying your qualities. May our speech be engaged in glorifying your qualities. Vāṇī guṇānukathane. And śravaṇau means our ears, or our power of hearing. Kathāyāṁ, it may be engaged in hearing your glories. May our speech be engaged in singing or in speaking your glories, in kirtan. Guṇānukathane, śravaṇau, kathāyāṁ. And may our ears be engaged in hearing your glories. Then hastau cha karmasu. Hastau means our hands. Karmasu means in your service. So may our hands be engaged in rendering service to you, rendering devotional service. Manaha tava pādayor naha smṛtyāṁ. Manaha means mind. Tava pādayor means your lotus feet. Smṛtyāṁ means in remembering. May our mind be engaged in the remembrance of your lotus feet. Śiras tava nivāsa-jagat-praṇāme. Shirah means may our head. Tava nivāsa-jagat-praṇāme. That means may our head be engaged in offering obeisances to you who are situated in this universe, in this entire universe. That means you are there in the whole universe. Where is the Lord not there? He is there as Paramatma of the whole universe, and He is there as Paramatma in every atom, and whatever is existing in this universe, it is existing because of the Lord. If the Lord is not there, nothing would have its existence. So may our heads be engaged in offering obeisances to you who are situated in this entire universe. Śiras tava nivāsa-jagat-praṇāme dṛṣṭiḥ satāṁ darshane astu bhavat-tanūnām. Then dṛṣṭi means our eyes may be engaged in what? Bhavat-tanūnām means your body, your transcendental body, your form. Satāṁ means your devotees, sadhus. Darshana means to see. So may our eyes be engaged in taking darshan of your transcendental form as well as your devotees. This is the prayer. Okay. So what are they saying? O Lord of the universe, may our speech be engaged in glorifying your auspicious qualities. May our ears be engaged in hearing your ecstatic pastimes or glories. May both our hands be engaged in rendering loving service unto you. May our mind be engaged in remembering your lotus feet. May our heads be engaged in offering obeisances unto you who are situated in this entire universe. And also, it is said specifically, you are situated in your devotees like Narada, etc. So may our heads be engaged in offering obeisances to you who are situated in this entire universe, and also to you who are specifically situated in your devotees like Narad Muni and others. And may our eyes be engaged in taking darshan of your deity form and also taking darshan of your devotees. So what are they saying? That because we are the servants of your devotee. So here devotee means you can take either Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma. You can take either one. Because we are servants of your devotee, we have received such unlimited affection from you. We have become the objects of your unlimited affection. Why? Because we are the servants of your devotee. That's why that which is unattainable for others, we have received it. And what is that? We got that enthusiasm, that desire to offer prayers to you. Actually, it's not possible to glorify the Lord. But we got that opportunity because we received your unlimited mercy. Why we received this mercy? Because we are servants of your devotee. Therefore, that which is not possible for others, we have received it. What is that? We became very enthusiastic, very eager to offer prayers to you. Our dear Krishna, may our speech be engaged only in singing your glories. Right? Let it be always be completely absorbed in glorying, in singing your glories, and not in speaking. May our speech not be used in any other katha, in any other talks, except singing your glories, your name, your form, your qualities, your pastimes, your devotional service. So the Lord, His devotees, and their devotional service, all this is together. So may our speech be engaged in that all the time, not in any other topic. And may our mind be always engaged in remembering your lotus feet, not in remembering any other topic. May our heads be engaged in offering obeisances to your devotees in whom you are residing. And may our eyes always glance upon your beautiful form. And may our eyes be engaged in glancing upon your devotees who are also your form. Because when you see the devotees, who do you remember? Immediately you remember Krishna. You see Krishna. When you see devotees, they remind you of Krishna. That's why may our eyes be engaged in glancing on your form, which is visible through your devotees. Let our eyes be attached to simply taking darshan of your form by seeing your devotees, not in seeing anything else. May our eyes not be attracted to seeing anything else. Like this. They are praying. So now let's see Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport to this verse. Henceforward, may all our words describe your pastimes. May our ears engage in oral reception of your glories. May our hands, legs, and other senses engage in actions pleasing to you. So hands is said, so you should take, when hands are said, others are also included, all other senses, hands, legs, other senses, engage in actions pleasing to you. That means engaged in devotional service. May our minds always think of your lotus feet. Mind should be remembering the lotus feet. May our heads offer our obeisances to everything within this world, because all things are also your different forms, isn't it? Everything is coming from the Lord's energy, external energy, marginal energy, and internal energy. Internal energy means bhakti. So the devotees who are in this world. So everything, whatever there is, it is all His form only. So may our heads be engaged in offering obeisances to everything within this world, because all things are also your different forms. And may our eyes see the forms of Vaishnavas who are non-different from you. Purport. Here the process of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is given. This process is bhakti. So what are they praying? Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam, isn't it? Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So what is bhakti? Coming out of all bodily designations and through the senses, serving the master of the senses, engaging your senses in the service of the master of the senses. This is called bhakti, or this is called Shuddha Bhakti. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Coming out of all upadis and engaging in devotional service to the master of the senses through the senses. So here they are mentioning all their senses. That means how their speech should be engaged, how their ears should be engaged, how their hands should be engaged, how their mind should be engaged, their eyes, how they should be engaged, their heads, how they should engage, like that. So what are they saying? Here the process of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is given, and that process is bhakti. So how can you understand the Supreme Lord? You can understand the Supreme Lord when He reveals Himself to you. When will He reveal Himself to you? When you perform bhakti, sadhana bhakti, that attracts His attention. First you perform sadhana bhakti. By that bhakti, then you get bhava bhakti. Then by Krishna's mercy, when He is pleased by your bhakti, He will award prema bhakti. And when you get prema, then He's just going after you, because that prema is very attractive to the Lord. Any devotee who has prema bhakti in his heart, the Lord is always going after that devotee. And he reveals himself to that devotee. So what is the process for understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You have to do bhakti. What is that bhakti? Śravaṇam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Remember, what did Nalakuvara and Manigriva say? He said, vāṇī guṇānukathane. Vāṇī guṇānukathane means what? Kirtanam. Then śravaṇau kathāyāṁ means śravaṇam. And hastau karmasu manastava pādayor naha smṛtyāṁ. Manaha tava pādayor smṛtyāṁ means smaranam. Then hastau karmasu. Hastau, with hands. So you want to do pādasevanam, right? Massaging the Lord's lotus feet, right? Also with hands you do archanam. Yes, pādasevanam, archanam you're doing with your hands. Then vandanam. What else did he say? Shiraha tava nivāsa-jagat-praṇāme. With my head, let me offer obeisances. So vandanam. See? Aren't they saying the same thing? We want to do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam of you, our dear Lord, like that. And then of course, then Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. That's relationship. In what relationship you want to serve the Lord? Like this. So what are they asking for? They're asking for bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport that here the process of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is given. This process is bhakti. This verse is from Prahlada Maharaja's Upakyanam, 7th canto, 5th chapter, text 23. Everything should be engaged in the service of the Lord. Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchyate, Narad Pancharatra. And this is also quoted in Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu. When Srila Rupa Goswami gave us the definition of Shuddha Bhakti, Anyavilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam Anukulyana Krishnanushilanam, that verse, Srila Rupa Goswami has composed that verse. But whatever he has composed, he's taking those ideas, those principles from Shastra. So, already there is a definition of bhakti given in Narada Pancharatra. So he quotes this verse. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So this is from Narada Pancharatra. Everything, the mind, the body, and all the sense organs should be engaged in Krishna's service. Whatever we have, use it in Krishna's service. This is to be learned from expert devotees. How to do that? How to engage everything in Krishna's service? How will you know? From expert devotees like Narad Muni, Swayambhu means Lord Brahma, Shambhu means Lord Shiva. They're all Mahajans. They're all the Acharyas in Bhakti, experts in Bhakti. We should learn from them how to engage all our senses in the service of the Lord. This is the process. We cannot manufacture our own understanding of the personality of Godhead, for it is not that everyone can manufacture or concoct. It is not that everything one manufactures or concocts will lead to understanding God. So, if you want to understand God, you have to follow the procedure which is given by his devotees. And his devotees will only give that procedure because who are his devotees? Devotees are surrendered to him. And surrender is a symptom of Dridha Shraddha. Dridha Shraddha means Shastrartha Vishwasaha. So whatever they tell us will not be against what is given in Shastra. See, you understand the connection? Who is giving us the procedure? What to do? The devotees are explaining to us. But will the devotees say anything which is not there in Shastra? No. They won't give us anything which is not there in Shastra. They will not make their own concoction and tell us, you can do this and you can do that. That is actually a great disservice. Anyone who is explaining Shastra in his own words, in other words, if he is concocting the meaning of Shastra, then that is a great disservice. You know, it is said that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat's Adi Khanda, first chapter. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is giving commentary on Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's shlokas, verses. So in the very first chapter, the author, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, glorifies Lord Balaram. Why? Because Lord Balaram is the personification of all Vedic knowledge. Lord Balaram is the principle of Guru Tattva. He is Guru Tattva, the original Guru. All Gurus are actually representing Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram and Nityananda Prabhu are non-different. So before Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur begins his work, he is sufficiently glorifying Lord Balaram, giving the glories of Lord Balaram. Because if you receive the mercy of Lord Balaram, then you will be able to glorify Lord Krishna. Then you will be able to understand Lord Krishna. Without the mercy of Lord Balaram, you won't be able to understand Lord Krishna. In fact, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not pleased if one does not speak according to or by taking the blessings of Lord Balaram. Without taking blessings of Balaram, if anyone is speaking, then that such words, even though they may be very learned, they are called dushta Saraswati. Because Saraswati, because they are also words. However, those words are called dushta Saraswati. But if you are speaking according to the Shastras and in the service of Lord Krishna with the blessings of Lord Balaram, then that is known as, I think, Vishuddha Saraswati, but I'll have to check. So the point here that I'm making is, we cannot give our own interpretation of the words that are given in Shastra. We cannot explain in whichever way we like. The procedure, if you want to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you cannot manufacture your own way of worship. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Adi, Pancharatra, Vidhim Vina, Aikantiki, Harer Bhakti, Utpatayaiva Kalpate. Without following the procedures which are given in Shruti, means Vedas, Smritis, Shruti, Smriti, Puranas. Smritis means like you have Dharma Shastra, Manu Smriti, Parashara Smriti, Yagyavalkya Smriti. Yes, like Dharma Shastras. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Adi, Itihasas like Mahabharata. Pancharatra like Narada Pancharatra. So Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Adi, Pancharatra, Vidhim, Vina, without following all this, Aikantiki, Harer Bhakti. If you are doing Aikantiki, means exclusive devotional service, but you are not following the procedure which is given in Shastra. You are not following the guidelines given by Guru. What will Guru give us? He will only give us what is there in Shastra. Why? Because Guru is a surrendered devotee of Krishna. Not only is he a surrendered devotee, he is a confidential associate of Krishna. Guru is a confidential associate of Krishna. Confidential servant of Krishna. So, he will only give us the procedure which is given in the scripture. He will not give us anything which is whimsically. If somebody is giving something whimsically, then that's a great disservice. You cannot realize God by manufacturing or concocting your own method of realizing God. That's the point Srila Prabhupada is making in this verse. There is a process how to realize the Lord. And this is the paddhati. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. And how to do that also. A specific program is given for us, isn't it? In the morning, you have to rise early, chant the names of the Lord, do Mangalarti, deity worship, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. You have to follow that procedure. You cannot concoct or manufacture your own procedure. It is not that everything one manufactures or concocts will lead to understanding God. It will not. So, some people said, Jatomat Tatopat. Jatomat Tatopat means as many conceptions there are. So, basically, your brain, in your fertile brain, so many philosophies come up. Basically, concoctions, speculations. So, as many philosophies or as many ideologies, philosophies there are, that many paths are possible. So, everyone can have their own path. Jatomat Tatopat. As many minds there are, that many philosophies can come up and that many paths are possible. This was a proposition by one Mayavadi personality. But such a proposition is foolish, Srila Prabhupada is saying. Krishna doesn't say Jatomat Tatopat. What does Krishna say? Krishna says, Bhaktyamam abhijanati. If you want to know me, then you have to do bhakti. That's all. Not Yatomat Tatopat. Krishna doesn't say that. If you want to realize Krishna, you cannot concoct your own way. That's the point. So see, such a proposition, Jatomat Tatopat, is foolish. Krishna says, Bhaktyaham ekaya grahya. Bhaktya aham, matlab by bhakti, aham, I, ekaya. That means only by bhakti, aham grahya. I can be grasped or I can be understood. It is only by bhakti activities that I can be understood, not any other. That's why Ananya Bhakti said. Ananya means nothing else, only Krishna. Bhakti. And there also Ananya Bhakti means you do only Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam. 64 limbs given by Rupa Goswami. That is Ananya Bhakti. Only that. And that also you do Anyabhilashita Shunyam, without desiring anything. Not that by doing this exclusive Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, I want liberation. That will not work. Exclusive, direct devotional service only for Krishna's pleasure, not for any other reason. This is Shuddha Bhakti. And that has to be done continuously. Anushilanam is said. Continuously it has to be done. This is the way Krishna has said. This is the path. Only by, right? Bhaktya aham ekaya. Only by this bhakti can I be understood. This is Krishna saying in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 14th chapter, text 21. This is called Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Remaining engaged favorably in the service of the Lord. And that's what NALAKUVARA and MANIGRIVA are praying for here. They want to do exclusive devotional service to Krishna by engaging all their senses in Krishna's service. So they are seeking, Nalakuvara, Manigriva are seeking Krishna's permission to leave. And what do they want to do? They want to do only devotional service after leaving. So in this way, the prayers of Nalakuvara and Manigriva are concluded. Then Sri Shuka Uvacha Itham Sankirtitastabhyam Bhagavan Gokuleshwaraha Damna Cholukha Lebaddaha Prahasan Aha Guhyakau. Sri Shuka Uvacha, Sukadeva Goswami saying, Itham Sankirtitastabhyam. So, in this way, Sankirtitaha, being, so Sankirtan means together. Kirtan means singing. Sankirtan means congregational singing. Together, when devotees come together and sing, that is Sankirtan. So Sankirtitaha, because both of them were singing, right? Both of them were glorifying the Lord. So Sankirtitaha, the Lord being glorified. Tabhyam means by the two of them, by the two demigods. Itham Sankirtitas Tabhyam Bhagavan Gokuleshwaraha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of Gokula. Because now he is in Gokula. Gokul Dham is here on the earth. And in the spiritual world, it is called Goloka. So here Gokuleshwaraha, Bhagavan Gokuleshwaraha, the master of Gokula. And what was his position? Damna cha ulukhale baddha. Damna means rope. Ulukhale, to the grinding motor, baddha, he was bound. Damna cha ulukhale baddha. Prahasan, aha. Aha means he said, he spoke. Prahasan means as if he is smiling or smiling. Prahasan means smiling. Prahasan, aha, he said. To who? Guhyakau. Guhyakau means these two young demigods, Nalakuvara and Manigriva. So now, after hearing the prayers of Nalakuvara and Manigriva, Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of Gokula, but now he is bound by the rope of YASODAMAYI to the grinding motor. In that condition, Krishna, after hearing the prayers of Nalakuvara and Manigriva, he smiled and he spoke as follows. Sukadeva Goswami continued, the two young demigods thus offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Sri Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, is the master of all and was certainly Gokuleshwara, the master of Gokula, he was bound to the wooden motor by the ropes of the gopis, and therefore smiling widely, he spoke to the sons of Kuvera the following words. So, Krishna's smiling is significant here. Why is Krishna smiling? What is the reason for his smiling? That's the point you should catch here. So now Sukadeva Goswami is telling us, until now, Nalakuvara and Manigriva were speaking, that is over. Now Sukadeva Goswami is telling us, means he is telling Parikshit Maharaj, the two young demigods thus offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although Sri Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, is the master of all. So this is the point. Who is Krishna? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means he is the master of all masters. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the Lord of even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra, everyone. He is the master of all masters, the controller of all controllers. He is even the source of Paramatma, Karanodakashai Vishnu. By the glance of Karanodakashai Vishnu, this whole creation started, and Krishna is the master of even Karanodakashai Vishnu, Sankarshan. That Krishna, who is the master of all. And of course, he is certainly the master of Gokula. That's why Gokuleshwara, he said, he is Ishwara. Gokuleshwara. But what is his condition? Even though he's a supreme master, now he's tied up. He's tied up by the ropes of the gopis of Yasodamayi. And he's hearing the prayers of Nalakuvara and Manigriva, who are praying to the Supreme Master to be released from the ties of Mahamaya, this material energy. Being under the influence of material energy, we do so many material activities. So we remember how Nalakuvara and Manigriva, they were intoxicated and, engaged with women and all that. So they're praying to the Lord to be freed from the bondage of material energy. The material energy has tied them. But who are they praying to? They're praying to Krishna, who is himself bound by the ropes of Yasodamayi. So in this context, Acharya is explaining like this. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this verse. So he's saying that Sankirtitaha, that means being prayed or being praised by the two demigods, Nalakuvara and Manigriva. Krishna, who is tied out of love. That means Krishna agreed to be bound by Yasodamayi because of her love. Being controlled by her love, Krishna agreed to be tied by her rope. And now his condition is he's in bondage, he's tied. He's in a tied condition now. Tied by the rope of Mother Yashoda. And he's laughing. Not even smiling. Haste. Smiling or laughing, he's speaking to Nalakuvara and Manigriva. Why is he smiling? Why is he laughing or smiling? What is the reason is being explained. What is Krishna thinking? Why is he laughing? He's thinking these two, demigods, you can say, Nalakuvara, Manigriva, being bound by my Maya, they are offering their prayers to me to be delivered, to be freed from my Maya. However, look at me. I am bound by the rope of love by Yasodamayi and other gopis. And again, I get chastised by them. Out of sneha, out of love, they chastise me again and again. And being bound by them and being chastised by them, gali sunate hain. I'm living here in Gokul. And these two who are bound by the rope of Maya are praying to me to be released from that bondage. And I am very happy. Happily I am bound here by the loving rope of Yasodamayi and the gopis. And I'm very happily sitting here and happy to be chastised by them again and again. To me, these chastisements of Vrajagopis are very satisfying. I become very pleased by their chastisement. I don't get that type of pleasure. I don't get that type of chastisement, that type of satisfaction by hearing the prayers of these two. They are offering prayers. So that's what I was saying at the beginning, of the prayers of Nalakuvara and Manigriva, that Nalakuvara and Manigriva's prayers, see, devotees are of different grades. Vrajavasi's love is something else. Their love is, that means the intensity, the amount of love. There is a taratamyam. Taratamyam means high and less, right? High and low, more and less. It's not that all devotees, all pure devotees have the same amount of love. No. It varies. The type of relationship they have also determines. For example, if somebody is in a relationship with Krishna in conjugal love, as opposed to a devotee who is in master-servant relationship, then the devotee in conjugal relationship, that love is superior. It is more powerful because that rasa is very strong. It's very powerful. So the love of that devotee. So when you say love, prema means it is, in prema there is a combination of rasas. There is sthai bhava, anubhava, vibhava, sanchari bhava, like this, different types of bhavas. They mix together and that forms rasa, prema rasa. And there are different types of rasas. You have rasa, vatsalya rasa, madhurya rasa, sakhya rasa, dasya rasa, like that. And then you have secondary rasas also. So these rasas are, so when a devotee has love for the Lord, in that love will be these different rasas. And when a devotee offers prayers to the Lord, in those prayers, you can see the components of these different rasas. That's why when you hear prayers, these prayers will reflect which grade of devotee that particular personality is. So when you see the prayers of the gopis, nagapatnis, even Veda Stuti, these prayers have very, very elaborate commentaries by acharyas. Why? Because you will find, they're filled with all these rasas. And then there are also prayers by, the demigods. They are also offering prayers to Krishna. When Narasimha Bhagwan appeared, the demigods were coming and offering prayers. They are not as heavy, very light. Right? So that will reflect. So you will have mixed devotees and you'll have pure devotees. And in pure devotees also, there are different grades of devotees. So that's why here what we are seeing is that the prayers of Nalakuvara and Manigriva, they are not of a, not like the prayers of the gopis or of Nagapatnis or of the personified Vedas. They are not like that. So because Krishna is not, the point is ultimately Krishna is, Acharya is explaining why Krishna is smiling. Krishna is smiling because, or laughing or smiling, because he was getting more pleasure by the chastisement of the gopis than by the glorification of Nalakuvara and Manigriva. Why? Because that intensity of prema is not there here as it is there in the gopis, like that. Okay? So now we'll read Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. Sukadeva Goswami continued, the two young demigods thus offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Sri Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, is the master of all and was certainly Gokuleshwara, the master of Gokula, he was bound to the wooden mortar by the ropes of the gopis, and therefore, smiling widely, he spoke to the sons of Kuvera the following words. Purport. Krishna was smiling because he was thinking to himself, quote, these two young demigods fell from the higher planetary system to this planet, and I have delivered them from the bondage of standing for a long time as trees, isn't it? They were there as trees for 36,000 earth years. And now Krishna released them from that bondage. Now they don't have to stand there in those tree bodies anymore. So Krishna is thinking, I have delivered them from the bondage of standing for a long time as trees. But as for me, I am bound by the ropes of the gopis and am subject to their chastisements. Mane, I released them from their bondage, but I myself am bound here. I have released them from their bondage. What was their bondage? They were bound in those tree bodies for 36,000 years, and I have released them. But what is my position? I myself am bound by ropes of the gopis, and am subject to their chastisements again and again. Unquote. In other words, Krishna submits to being chastised, and he's happy there. It's not that he's asking for deliverance or liberation. He's happily living there in Gokula, being chastised again and again by the gopis. Krishna submits to being chastised and bound by the gopis because of pure love and affection, worthy of being praised by a devotee in so many ways. So then we will see what Krishna said. 3 more verses and the chapter will end. But we will read that tomorrow, what Krishna said. Now let's read Bhagavad Gita. So we are reading from the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday we read text 12. Today we have to read text 13. We'll read the verse first and then we will discuss. Text 15, 13. Text 13. Gamavishya cha bhutani dharayamyaham pushnami chaushadhi sarvah somo bhutva rasatmakaha. Gamavishya cha bhutani dharayamyaham pushnami chaushadhi sarvah somo bhutva rasatmakaha. Gam avishya cha bhutani dharayamyaham pushnami chaushadhi sarvah somo bhutva rasatmakaha. What is Krishna saying here? Gam means earth. Avishya, entering. Bhutani means all living entities. Dharayami, I am holding. Aham. Dharayami aham, I am holding. Okay? So by entering the earth, I am holding or I am maintaining or holding all living entities. If the Lord didn't enter, we wouldn't be standing on the earth. We say gravitational force. That gravitational force, how it is there in the earth? Because the Lord enters, that's why it is there. So the Lord is saying, I enter Gam, the earth or the planets, I enter, and by that I'm holding all the living entities in place there. Then Ojasa. Ojasa means juice, right? You see, all fruits, vegetables, medicines, medicinal plants, they have juice in them. That is Ojasa, that energy, that juice. How it is formed? Soma bhutva rasatmaka. Actually, rasa is juice. Sorry. Rasa atmaka. Rasa is juice. Ojasa means energy. Ojasa means energy. So, how these fruits, vegetables are getting that, how they're becoming juicy? By moonlight. Soma means moon. So, yesterday also we were reading light of the sun, light of the moon, and the heat coming from fire. This is all my energy, Krishna told Arjuna, isn't it? In the previous verse, text 12. So these three verses, 12, 13, 14, Krishna will talk how he is there. See, Krishna is telling Arjuna what is the beginning of Krishna consciousness. How we can begin to be Krishna conscious. In yesterday's verse, if you remember, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, in this world, in our lives, you can see how we are dependent on Krishna at every moment. So, we saw the example of sunlight. Without sunlight, nothing can happen. If there is no light, if it is simply night all the time, we wouldn't be able to do anything. First of all, plants won't grow. That means there won't be any food. Without food, who will live? Nobody can live. Animals, human beings, without food, how we will live? And also, after sun rises, then all activity starts. We do all activities. We need fire. We need fire to cook. We need fire in factories, right? To make tools. We need fire. Without fire, also we cannot function. And then moonlight. Moonlight is causing the fruits, vegetables, and medicines to develop their juice, to form their juice. So Krishna is saying that this is my energy. The light of the sun, light of the moon, and the light and heat of fire, this is my energy. It is my energy only coming through this way. So now, because we are so dependent on sunlight, so dependent on moonlight, so dependent on fire, when does a day pass in our life without coming in contact with sunlight, moonlight, or fire? And there in fire, also electricity is added. Sunlight, moonlight, fire, and electricity is added. Does a day pass? Why a day? Even a few hours or 1 hour pass in our day without coming in contact with sun, moon, light, or fire or electricity? No. So you have an opportunity, even though you are in the conditioned state. This is for conditioned souls. This is for conditioned souls. How the conditioned souls can come to the stage of pure devotional service. You be Krishna conscious. If we are able to see Krishna. See Krishna means the way Krishna is explaining. Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, Arjuna, I am there for you. Even now I am there for you. I am the one who is supplying this light of the sun, light of moon, light of fire, and this electricity. I am supplying. It's my energy, Arjuna. I am giving it. So see me. So in your day-to-day activities, I am there for you at every moment. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport is explaining when we will begin, when we will actually start applying this in our life. When we will apply this in our life, this knowledge, this information which is being given by Krishna, when we apply this in our life, that is the beginning of our Krishna consciousness. Then we will begin to be Krishna conscious. So in the same lines, today's verse and tomorrow's, that means 3 verses are said. Yesterday's verse, 12th verse said about sunlight, moonlight, and electricity. So today's verse is talking about, you can say, gravitational force, because Krishna is saying, I enter into the earth, and actually planets, in the translation it's given as planets. And then I am the one who's holding. So the trees are able to stand up because Krishna is holding them by entering into the earth. We are able to stand on the ground and walk on the ground because of Krishna, of his energy. He is holding up. He's saying, I enter and I am holding. Already we discussed in the purport yesterday, who will be able to accept Krishna's words and who will not accept. Only a devotee will be able to accept Krishna's words. Devotee means one who received the mercy of a devotee coming in a bona fide disciplic succession. Only one who receives the mercy of a devotee coming in the bona fide disciplic succession, such a person only will be able to accept these words and believe them. So now the next verse in the same lines is being said here, that I am holding, and also ojasa pushnami, that means I am nourishing. Aushadhi sarvaha, that means all plants, vegetables, fruits, I am nourishing them. How? Somo bhutva rasatmakaha, by becoming. So I am supplying juice through the moon. Through the moon, I am supplying juice to all these plants. Let's read the translation and purport. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. Purport. It is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. The Lord enters into every atom, every planet, and every living being. Yeah, he also enters every living being. He is there as Paramatma in every living being. Our bodies will not be there if the Lord didn't enter into the bodies. He is there in every atom, and he is there in the whole planet also, and he is there in the whole universe. He is there in the entire material creation consisting of innumerable universes. At different levels he is present. As Karanodakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Kshirodakshai Vishnu is present. So the Lord enters into every atom, every planet, and every living being. That is discussed in the Brahma Samhita. It is said there that one plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, enters into the planets, the universe, the living entity, and even into the atom. So due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. So if the Lord didn't enter, then that particular thing will not have its existence. It won't have its satta. Satta means existence. If the Lord didn't enter as Paramatma, that particular thing will not have its existence. Water would not have the qualities of water. Sugar would not have the qualities of sugar. Sugar atoms are sweet because Paramatma has entered those atoms. When the spirit soul is there, a living man can float on the water. But when the living spark is out of the body and the body is dead, the body sinks. Right? This is practical. When the soul is there in the body will float. But when the soul leaves the body, then the body will sink. The dead body will sink. Of course, when it is decomposed, it floats just like straw and other things. That's the other thing. So immediately after death, after the soul leaves, it will sink. But after it is decomposed, then it will float like straw, etc. But as soon as the man is dead, he at once sinks in the water. Similarly, all these planets are floating in space. How they are floating? So what is the point here? When there is a spirit soul, then the body is floating. When the soul leaves the body, it sinks. Now these planets are all floating in the air. That means there must be a soul in that, because of which the planet is floating. That means super soul. Because the super soul is present, Paramatma is present, that's why that whole planet, entire planet is able to float. That's the point. All these planets are floating in space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His energy is sustaining each planet just like a handful of dust. His energy is sustaining each planet just like a handful of dust. What does that mean? If someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of the dust falling. But if one throws it in the air, it will fall down. That means why this planet or all these planets are not falling down from space? Because the Lord is holding them. How he is holding them? By entering into the planet, he is keeping them in their place, in their orbit. Because he is there and he is holding them, that's why it is said, dharayami. Dharayami means he's holding it. Dharan karna. Dharayami. He's holding. By entering the planet, he's holding the planet in its particular orbit. Just like another thing, when you drive in cars, there are lanes on the road. When the driver is there controlling, holding the steering, then the car is going in its lane, isn't it? If the driver is not there, nobody is actually controlling the steering, then will the car stay in its lane? No, it will just go somewhere and eventually hit something. Very soon, actually. Like that, these planets are going exactly in their particular orbits at a particular speed without falling down. How is it happening? Because the Lord enters and he is holding it in its place. The way you hold dust in your hand, then the dust won't fall because you're holding it. But if you're not holding it, it'll just fall down. So if the planets are not falling down, means what? Means somebody is holding them. And the Lord here is saying, I'm holding them. How? By entering them, I'm holding them. So two analogies are given. One analogy is that of a dead body sinking when the soul leaves the body. So if the planet didn't have Paramatma, then the planet would not stay, would not float. It would just fall down. But it is floating. That means Paramatma is there. His energy is there. And the second analogy is like holding dust, a handful of dust. Dust is in your hand, it is not falling because you are holding it. If you were not holding it, it wouldn't just stay there, it will fall down. Similarly, the planets are staying in their particular orbits because the Lord is holding each planet. If he were not holding, they wouldn't be there, they would fall down. Okay? Similarly, these planets which are floating in the air are actually held in the fist of the universal form of the Lord, Supreme Lord. By his strength and energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. Yes, even on the planet, like where we are, our buildings, our homes, trees, cars, they're all staying in place. How? Because he's holding everything. Otherwise, they wouldn't stay in their particular place. You wouldn't be able to cook. Children wouldn't be able to play. Nothing would happen. You wouldn't be able to drive, walk, nothing. It's because he's holding. That's why he's holding not only the planet in its orbit, but on the planet also, everything, every object that is there, he's holding it in its place. By his strength and energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. It is said in the Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planets are steadily moving. Yachakshuresha savita sagalagrahanam Raja samasta suramurti rashesha teja yasya gyaya bhramati sambrita kala chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. On his order, the sun is, out of fear of the Supreme Lord, the sun is going in its particular orbit, right? So, it is said in the Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planets are steadily moving. Were it not for him, all the planets would scatter like dust in air and perish. Similarly, it is due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the moon nourishes all vegetables. So one point is, if you want to call it gravitational force or whatever, the Lord is holding. The second thing is, as moon, he is nourishing all vegetables. Due to the moon's influence, the vegetables become delicious. Without the moonshine, the vegetables can neither grow nor taste succulent. Human society is working, living comfortably, and enjoying food due to the supply from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, mankind could not survive. The word rasatmakaha is very significant. Everything becomes full of juice, full of taste, rasa. Rasatmakaha. Everything becomes palatable by the agency of the Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon. So again, in the same lines as yesterday's verse. So in 3 verses, Krishna is telling Arjuna that I am there for you. Even in the conditioned state, I am there for you. That's the point. And when you learn to see how he is there for us, for example, he's holding everything in place, or the light of the sun is his energy, light of the moon is his energy. And also, because of the moon, the food that we are eating, it's becoming so palatable. All different fruits that we eat, vegetables that we eat, they all have their particular flavor that's developed because of moonshine. Rasatmakaha, they are becoming palatable. If it were, and that power, it is the Lord's power. He is only coming in the form of that moon and giving us that. He is coming means it is his energy. By his energy, he's making all arrangements for us here. So that's the point. And when we start seeing this, then we are actually beginning to be Krishna conscious. Chanting at least 16 rounds a day is the beginning. That's just a start. But it's the consciousness that has to be developed. Krishna consciousness. And in the beginning stage, you are actually learning to see Krishna in the world that we live in. And how to see that, Krishna himself is explaining to us. Earlier also he said, I am the light of the moon, I'm the taste of water, like that. And the sound in ether. 10th chapter, the vibhutis of the Supreme Lord. 9th chapter also he said, 7th chapter also he said, some things like that. So now in this 15th chapter also we are hearing how he is there for us. Because what was said in the previous verse, remember? Vimuda nanu pashyanti yad jnana chakshushaha. Those who have jnana chakshu, they can see. But vimudas covered by avidya, ahankara, they cannot see. They are simply seeing themselves as this body. Then how to travel from there to here? Krishna himself is giving that knowledge. This is how you develop that knowledge. You are using, so use your intelligence, contemplate, meditate on this. I cannot live without sunlight, but this sunlight, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, this is his energy. Like that. So this is how you can actually using this knowledge, even in the present conditioned state, still covered by avidya, you can begin your Krishna consciousness by using this knowledge given by Krishna. That's the idea. So we can stop there today. Anyone has any questions, comments? No. Okay. So Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
जय
Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
अर्चना माता जी की जय।
जय
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo
सिन्धुदेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Thank
जय।
you. Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू सो मच माता जी।
Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू।